everyone. Welcome to our Sunday Satsang. And welcome to all of those of you who are watching this video online. We have a reading from Discourse for Eternity, which is a book of prayers and poems by Ananda Sangha Bangalore. And this one is called Demand to Love God as All Saints have loved Him. O Heavenly Father, fill my heart daily with the prayers and love of some new saint who found Thee in ages bygone. Fill my heart with the love of all saints who have ever loved and found Thee. And this is a reading from the great book Autobiography of a Yogi. This is from the last chapter. This is Yogananda has just finished another one of his books at Haridas. The time-tested scriptures of the world are one in essence, inspiring man on his upward journey. One of the happiest periods of my life was spent at Encinitas in dictating to secretaries the text of a spiritual interpretation of Christ's life. Fervently, I implored Christ to guide me in divining the true meaning of His words, many of which have been grievously misunderstood for 20 centuries. One night, while I was engaged in silent prayer, my sitting room in Encinitas Hermitage became filled with an open blue light. I beheld the radiant form of the Blessed Lord Jesus. A young man, he seemed, of about 25, with a sparse beard and mustache. His long black hair, parted in the middle, was haloed by a shimmering gold. His eyes were eternally wondrous. As I gazed, they were infinitely changing. With each divine transition in their expression, I intuitively understood the wisdom that was being conveyed. In his glorious eyes, I felt the power that upholds the myriad worlds. A holy grail appeared at his mouth. It came down to my lips and then returned to Jesus. After a few moments, he spoke to me in beautiful words of reassurance, so personal in their nature that I keep them in my heart. Such a beautiful reading, that vision of Jesus coming to Master, reassuring him that yes, indeed, what he was doing was in alignment with the Dharma that was his on this earth during this lifetime. Recently, this past week, we've had an annual event at the village called Spiritual Renewal Week, and it started last Sunday, and it's been going on all week long. We had it, the first one in 1969, and every single year we've had this incredibly inspiring event where in the early days Swamiji did all of the talks, all of the chanting, all of the singing, everything, because we knew nothing. But now the next generation has taken over since Swamiji has passed on. And these great souls from Ananda have taken on the mantle of presenting Spiritual Renewal Week and sharing it with all of our Guru Bhais all over the world. And so many people come to the village during this week in August. It's always it's a transforming experience. And last night, we worked at the Expanding Light all of those years, so we went to every single Spiritual Renewal Week and we put on all the events. So we're very event savvy. We know how to put on events, but it was always such a blessing to be there. But last night I was listening on the wonderful video that we have all over the world now, Jyotish and Devi's talk, which I absolutely recommend to everybody. Please go see that talk because it was really transforming. And what inspired me the most was the light that was coming through Jyotish and Devi when they were speaking. And I thought, wow, nothing's really changed. That vibration from Master has gone out. And to those who have received it, to them he has given the power to become the sons of God. Jyotish and Devi obviously have received that love in their hearts. And now they share it effortlessly. It's so beautiful to see the transformation of these souls over the years. And Jyotish's talk, in particular, inspired. He spoke of the theme for Spiritual Renewal Week was 70-year anniversary of this book, Autobiography of the Yogi. 70 years this book has been on the market, and so much has happened in 70 years. And he talked about the cycles of time and about the waves of energy that have gone out in this Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga, coming out of Kali Yuga, started 300 years ago. And 300 years ago, that first wave went out. The first wave of higher consciousness into an environment on this world where people could receive it because of our consciousness is more refined. We're coming out of the darkness of security and warfare, not quite warfare yet, but coming out of that resistance to sharing the light with other people. And so this first wave went out, and that was Babaji. And that was when Jesus appeared to Babaji. Jesus appeared to Babaji. When Jesus came on this earth, he came in the darkest part of Kali Yuga. And so his teachings really enlightened the world, and still enlightened the world because it's a true teaching, powerful vibration of love. But over the years, this teaching has gone down. And so Jesus, who is the caretaker of this earth, along with Babaji and all of these great masters, appeared to Babaji, and said, the lights on the high altar of my church have been growing dim. Let us together set lights ablaze on that high altar once again. Let us together. And so in that moment, Babaji was commissioned by God, through Jesus, to send out this wave of consciousness, to bring these hoary teachings from India that have been hidden during Kali Yuga into the bright light of Dwapara Yuga. That was the moment. And he talks about it in this book, The Autobiography of the Yogi. Who talks about that? It's really a phenomenal point in time when you think about the evolution of the soul and the evolution of this earth. So these protectors of the earth sent out this wave of energy. Babaji did. And what happened? He drew to him Lahiri Mahashaya in this wave of consciousness that was so powerful. And he drew to him Lahiri Mahashaya, who went to him in the Himalayas, and Babaji said he created a golden palace where he gave him Kriya Yoga, the ancient teaching of Kriya Yoga. Not a new teaching, an ancient teaching. And he was in bliss for 7 days, Lahiri Mahashaya was. And then he said, I'm not leaving. I don't want to go out into this world. It's too hard without you. I can't do it. I can't go. I don't want to leave you. He was in ecstasy. And Babaji said, no, you have to go. You have to go. This is the point. You are part of this new wave. And these teachings that have been hidden in the Indian scriptures for all of these centuries are now coming out into the new age of Dwapara Yuga. And you are the one Divine Mother has chosen. So Lahiri Mahashaya said he would. And he asked the Guru, he said, please, please let me give this teaching to all sincere souls, everybody that wants it. Not those who are perfect first, not those that have been able to renounce the world, but people that have families, people that have jobs, people that want you, but are bound by these responsibilities and these worries in this world. We're bound because we're still coming out of Kali Yuga, and we think we have to worry, but we don't. That's the secret. And so these teachings, this Kriya Yoga came out through Lahiri Mahashaya. He gave it to thousands of people. This first wave of Babaji's light, Divine Mother's light. Thousands of people got Kriya Yoga from a little tiny place in Benares, in a little tiny road. It's a miracle. Think of that. How could that be? How could he touch so many souls? And one of those souls that he touched was Sri Yukteswar. So amazing. Sri Yukteswar, just a very deep avatar, these great avatars, again, coming to help That's the only reason for their incarnation in this world, coming to help us. Sri Yukteswar, learning and sitting at the Hari Mahashaya's feet, becoming so schooled in the wisdom of these ancient teachings. But very Dwapara in his thinking, and he was very modern, and he had an interest. He had an interest in the West. He had an interest in taking these teachings out. That's why he was chosen. He had that desire. He knew that these teachings now were not so much just for India, they're for the world. And so Babaji sent him and told him he would. Paramahansa Yogananda. That wave went out, that wave of consciousness. And Lahiri Mahashaya, Sri Yukteswar, and then Master. And Master was he was a tiny boy, living in Calcutta, tiny boy. They used to call him Choti Mahashai. But it wasn't just a little child, it was little great sir, little avatar. That's who he was. And he found Sri Yukteswar. In that moment when he said, I want to be your disciple, that began the second wave. Yogananda was the one chosen by Babaji to bring these teachings to the West. And when he became Sri Yukteswar's disciple, that's when the second wave started. He said, I want to be your disciple, teach me, I wanted you so much, tell me what to do. And Sri Yukteswar said, my own, you have come, my own. And so he spent the next 10 years learning from the Great One. And then at one point, Sri Yukteswar said, you're going to the West, you're going to America. He didn't even speak English. He didn't know. So they're playing out this play, but that was the second wave. And then Master came to America, and he came to the West. Not just America, he came to the world. That's where he came. And he began to speak, and he filled the biggest halls in the United States, filled thousands of people. He initiated millions into Kriya Yoga. We can't imagine, when we look at our little satsang here, thousands, millions of people. Master, when he was speaking in the early 20s and the 30s, there were thousands of people climbing into the windows trying to get in because they recognized, they were born in this Dwapara Yuga, that this vibration that was coming through this avatar, this great soul, was something they could recognize. And he taught them how to bring these teachings into their daily life. How they could find God right where God has placed them, each one of us. How we can actually use these teachings, Kriya Yoga, and be scientists. The science of Kriya Yoga, there's a whole chapter. The science of Kriya Yoga. Prove it to yourself. You can change your life if you practice these teachings. These teachings are alive, they're vibrant, they work, they are filled with love, they are filled with joy. Every one of us wants the same thing. Every one of us wants more love. Every one of us wants more joy. We don't need to just go on pilgrimage to the old temples anymore. We have these things right here in our life. When we meditate, when we practice Kriya Yoga, when we have our Guru with us in our heart. This is what Yogananda was saying. Of course we go to these wonderful places and draw from those vibrations. Of course we do that. But what good is that if we're not changing ourselves? We can put it on Facebook and say, I went here and I went there. But unless you're really using the teachings and really living this vibration, you're not going to ever really know. What is it that Master and these great ones are bringing to us? They're bringing a way of life for a new age. We're in this new age. We're 300 years into the age of energy. This is how God will come to us now. Energy. That's how He's going to come to us. And we have to tap into our energy, so He gave us Kriya Yoga. And you learn how to feel that energy in the spine. And you learn how to draw the energy, that negative energy, that resistance from the base of the spine up to the point between the eyebrows. You concentrate here, and you begin to feel joy. Medical professors now, they didn't do this during Kali Yuga. Their medical practices were barbaric. Medical doctors now are saying people experience joy at the point between the eyebrows and this part of the brain, in the frontal lobe of the brain. They're finding this out through scientific experiments. And they're finding out that the thing that stimulates this is meditation. Isn't that amazing? Who would even think of that 2,000 years ago? It couldn't be because people wouldn't know. But now it's Dwapara Yuga. Doctors, to me, are very physical and bound by certain traditions, are seen for themselves. The spiritual eye, the forefront of the brain, is where we experience joy. Yogananda, Lahiri Mahashaya, Sri Yukteswar, Babaji told us and are telling us how to bring that up through Kriya Yoga, through pranayama. Not only Kriya Yoga, how to bring it into your daily life. That's what Master did. He touched every aspect of our lives: health, education, prayer, everything you can think of, science, medical doctors. Everything was to him to be infused with the Spirit of God. But that's for us. You know, he brought it to each one of us. And that's why, you know, you can get Kriya on the internet and get it in a day, and why does it take so long? We get these questions all the time, because this is more than just a technique. This is a way of life. And so that was the wave. And then in 1946, Yogananda wrote this book. This was the wave. This was the wave, part of Yogananda's wave. Through this book, he said millions will find God. Well, how many people have read this book right now? Everybody's read this book. Steve Jobs read this book every year. In the last years of his life, for years, he read this book. Every year. And he gave it out when he died. Steve Jobs was of Dwapara Yuga. He was a scientist of Dwapara Yuga. He knew how to work with energy. But he read this book because this gives us all the techniques and the lessons that we need. Every chapter is filled with some message. You can open the book at any time, at any day. Have a question, have a worry, needing some guidance. Open it at any moment. Close your eyes. Master, speak through this book. You'll get your answer. I do that all the time. Master's always talking to me through this book, and it's not just me. It's for everybody. When he wrote this book, 1946, think of it. How many people have found God through this book? Or at least found the path? Or at least have known there's something more than just being born and living and going to work and having kids and then having grandkids and, if you're lucky, maybe great-grandkids and then die. What a monotonous, boring life. Look what we have. We have ways to infuse this life with joy and with light and with happiness and with love and with creativity. Yes, we have grandchildren and all of that. I'm not demeaning family, but I'm saying there's more life than just what meets the eye. And this is what this book has given us. It's just phenomenal, this book, 1946. And then in 1948, Swami Kriyananda read that book. He read this book. 1948 in New York City. He read it, 21 years old. 3 days he was with this book. Changed his life forever. He was seeking, what is the purpose of life? Why am I here? Then he went across the United States, and his guru sat at his feet and said, I want to be your disciple. 3 years and a half he was with Master. That was the third wave. That was the third wave when Kriyananda became Yogananda's disciple. That was the third wave, and that's our wave. Because when Kriyananda became our disciple, that was Ananda's way. There were two things that Swami Kriyananda took to his heart as his dharma from his guru in this lifetime. Two things. One was to share these teachings, the other was to start spiritual communities. And that was a dream of Master's that he never got finished when he was living. Start spiritual communities where people with high thinking and simple living can live together in high principled ways in loving ways, in kind ways, to come together in satsang, to come together, share the vibration. This is the third wave. This is that wave. Swami Kriyananda was a wave of energy. He wasn't just a personality. He wasn't just this nice man that we had tea with. He was a man who was a humble disciple of great, great avatars. And he took their work seriously and he brought it out into the world in every way he could. Writing, music, cooking, communities. Communities were his big thing. And after he started his 7 communities, then he started withdrawing and writing more books. But what a blessing for us, because we are part of that wave. It isn't stopping at Ananda Village. That's what Swami did. He started 7 communities. It doesn't stop there. Why do you think communities are even created? Why is Kriya Yoga even given? Why do these teachings even matter? It's because each one of us want God. And each one of us are going to be self-realizing. Very soon. Very soon. Master said, when you sit at the Guru's feet and you accept his love and his teachings and his discipline, when you do that, 1 or 2 more incarnations, you're free. Isn't that a thrilling thought? 1 or 2 incarnations. Why are we worrying? But during those incarnations, the Maya is going to kick up its heels because it senses the light. And so there's this big battle now on this earth. Dwapara Yuga is coming into fruition. You can't stop these cycles from happening. You can't stop them. So Dwapara Yuga is going to come in 2,400 years. It's 300 years into it. We're moving into the light. So Kali Yuga is holding on with all of its force. You can see it all over. There's such chaos in this world, such negativity and such violence and all of that. It's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. But it's just, take it inside. Take it inside. What's the battle? All that depression, all of that resistance, all of the sadness, all of the failure, all of the suffering, all of the misguided desires, all of everything, it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. Because we have Guru, we have Swamiji, and we have Kriya Yoga. And we have one another. I can't emphasize that we have one another enough. Because that really is the purpose. When Swami read this book, he vowed, he said, I am going to find God, and then I'm going to share him with everyone. That's the point. You can find God if you share him. It's not a time to go off by yourself. You know, in America, little boys play ball, like soccer, and one boy brings the ball. And they play soccer, but then when it's time for the little boy to go home, he just takes his ball and he goes home. You know, and then they don't have a ball to play with anymore. So I was thinking, it's kind of like in Kriya, when people get Kriya. They get Kriya, and they get their technique, and they think, okay, I've earned this, now I have my Kriya, and then they go home, and you never see them again. And that's not right. It's not right. The trick is to balance that Kriya and bring it out into the world and share with your Guru Bhais. Because that vibration is growing and growing and growing, and we help one another. We need the help. We need the support. We need the love. We need the friendship. Who else understands Kriya Yogis but other Kriya Yogis? I know my Irish Catholic family doesn't understand Kriya Yogis. As a matter of fact, they wish I weren't a Kriya Yogi. They have no reference. What are you talking about? Kriya Yogis understand Kriya Yogis. We're a spiritual family, and Swami said we've done this before. And so we're doing it again. And it isn't America and India and Italy and all these separate countries. It's consciousness. It's souls. So we were born in America, but here we are in India, perfectly comfortable. You all go to America, perfectly comfortable. So it's not even the culture. You know, we get bound by those separate boundaries. We put boundaries around ourselves. It's Dwapara Yuga. It's time to get rid of the boundaries. It's Dwapara Yuga. It's the age of energy and light, and it's time to share. It's time to reach out to help other people. We've got Kriya Yoga, we've got the Guru, we have one another. Don't you remember when you didn't? It's very good to remember. I remember when I was suffering and I didn't know. I was desperate. I was desperate for meaning, meaning in my life. What is this about? I had done it before and I had this memory, but the world was not providing me with the answer. It just wasn't. I was desperate. The very next day when I had it out with Divine Mother, then there was my friend who called me on the phone and said, do you want to go listen to a disciple of a God-realized master speaking at a bookstore? I said, yeah, I do. And I walked in and I knew I was home. Just like that. Why did I know I was home? Well, was I really being true to myself? Was I escaping something? Was I jumping in where angels feared to tread? Was I just in my ego? Why did I feel that was my home when I walked into that bookstore? It was the vibration of my guru eyes. It was Swamiji. It was the vibration of friendship and openness and love. I walked in that door, smiles, how are you? Sincerity of heart, pureness of heart. There was no agenda, trying to sign you up to be a member, and there was none of that. It was, oh, you're a friend, a spiritual friend. This is what we have to share. It was so beautiful. I thought, I just want to be with these people. And so each one of you are these people. Each soul, we're part of this wave. And this wave isn't going to die whether we get on the boat or not. It's not going to die. But why not come onto that wave and serve together? And really, I'm saying come to the center, but find ways in your heart where you can share these teachings, and you will find, once you start doing that, that you're much happier, you're calmer. Find a way. I don't care what it is. Write a spiritual letter once a week and do a blog or anything that you can do. In the center, there's many ways you can serve. Join the Healing Prayer Council. Pray for other people. But don't hide out. Don't take your ball and go home. Don't just say, I've got it for me, because you won't grow that way. Not in this age. In Kali Yuga, it was okay. You could sit there and you were meant to go away. You were in your cell and you found God that way. Many of us would love to do that because it's comfortable for us. We've been yogis in caves before, and so we like that feeling of solitude and the closeness of Divine Mother and no hassle with the world. But Babaji told Lahiri to get out of the cave and go out into the world. That was very significant. And so Lahiri, which was even more significant, said yes. And even though it was uncomfortable, and even though it might be just, you don't want to, you're tired, you had a late night last night, I can't get out of bed, whatever, we get so tired and worn down, but I guarantee if you come to the center, and everybody were coming to the center, if everybody that's gotten Kriya Yoga, just since the 4 years since we've been here, there's nearly 100 people, if all the 100 Kriya Yogis came to the center every Sunday, this place would be bursting at the seams and we'd have a community by now. We would, because of the magnetism. So, it's not that we have to have the community, it's that we have to grow spiritually, because the community will not happen unless each one of us grows spiritually. You see, it doesn't matter, numbers mean nothing. It's the individual making love to God. And God will ask you to do things that are uncomfortable. He's going to get you out of your nest of troubles, but He's going to ask you things that are just not easy. Say yes to life. Look at Swamiji's life. Look at Jyotish and Devi. They're in their 70s. They're middle 70s. They travel all over the world. They get out of bed. They go to spiritual renewing. They do their talks. And they're growing so much. You can see it. Don't you want to be like that at the end of your life? In the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about how the soul leaves the body at death. And when you're free and when you're self-realized, the soul goes out the spiritual eye, top of the head. if you're going to go back into sleep and come back for another incarnation, it comes out the back of the skull through the medulla oblongata. Think of Kriya Yoga. Every time you do Kriya, you're concentrating here at the point between the eyebrows. Every Kriya, you're concentrating here. The more Kriya you do, the more realized you become, which means you get closer to God and you feel it. You actually feel it. And things start manifesting in your life as love and joy and opportunities and security and guidance, all of that. But at the end of our life, don't we want to go out here, spiritual life? Don't you want to just be there? I remember my dear, dear friend Leela. I was just talking about her the other day. She's a very humble soul. Dearest friend I had at Ananda. She cooked for Swami. And before she cooked for Swami, she and I cooked together at the Expanding Light for years. And the quality that most actually defined her was her laughter. And we used to laugh. I had never laughed so much since then or before, but with Leela, it was just a genuine belly laugh for everything. We just laughed our way through very stressful times in the kitchen, and it was great. I didn't mind it at all. And then she was cooking for Swami, and then we got sent somewhere, I forget. We started our travels, and then we ended up in India. But at the end of her life, she was so sweet and so accepting. She went to the doctor said, you have 2 weeks left. Think of that, 2 weeks left to live. What would you do with that 2 weeks? What would you do? Would you start concentrating here? It might be too late if you're starting 2 weeks before you go. You know, you might want to start now so that it's a habit. So that you don't have to think, oh my God, I haven't done any of these things that Master told me to do, Swami told me to do. Oh my God, it's getting so, oh my God, I have 2 weeks. What am I going to do? Oh, Om. I don't know if it's going to work. It might work if there's a lot of intensity. But you want to do it every day, every time you think of God. Put your energy here, chant Om, open your heart to His love every moment of the day. Don't wait. And so anyway, she obviously had been doing that, and so she called me on the phone. It was like, I don't know, 4 days before she died. And she said, Swami gave me a book to read, and it's called Dying to Be Me. She said, I don't want to read a book. So I just put it on the bookshelf. And she said, I don't know how to die. She said, what am I going to do? And we just kind of started laughing. And I said, I don't know how to die either. So we're laughing on the phone and saying, well, how do you die? I don't know. How do you die? She had 4 more days. And then she was really, really, really quiet. And she didn't laugh at all for just moments. So I said, Leela, did you do it? She said, no, I'm still here. And she was for 4 more days. But then she left her body, and Durga said her head was hot. That meant her soul went through the spiritual eye. And when Swami did the astral ascension ceremony, he said that she was free. He felt her soul free from everything. All 3 worlds, astral karma, physical karma, causal karma, free soul. Now who would have known this was just Leela, you know, going to cook for Swami. Because she took the teaching seriously, and she shared every moment of her life. She never took it for granted, ever. She was always in joy. And she would struggle. She had a hard life. Her son, she had 2 sons. She had a divorce. You know, these people, we have lives. But she stood steadfast through everything that went in her life, and she always ended up in joy. Always. She chose joy over suffering. And her reward was freedom of God. And so for each one of us, this wave that's going out, catch the wave. Catch the wave. Don't let it go. This is important because we're at the very beginning. There's a lot of power when a new work is started. There's a lot of energy when a new work has begun. Because the masters are blessing and blessing. Because this is the launch pad for the next wave into Dwapara Yuga. Call your friends. Get involved at Ananda in any way you can. This is your spiritual family. Remember, we've done this before. I can't emphasize this enough. We've done this before. That's why when people walk in the door to level 1 classes, and then we meet them in Raja Yoga, it's like we've known them. We know all of you. We've known you before. Isn't that true? There's no having to get to know you time. We know because our souls know. There's a recognition. There's a soul recognition. And we are from the spiritual family, and we are part of this wave, part of Aarti's wave, these great masters. What a privilege in this lifetime. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Take hold of one another's hands. In the early days, we had the song as our theme song of Ananda. Walk like a man, even though you walk alone. Why court approval once the road is known? We loved that song for many years. Then Ananda started growing and growing, and more and more people were getting Kriya, and more people were joining, more and more people, our family was all over the world in no time. And then Swamiji changed our theme song. Many hands make a miracle. And so let's join hands together, and make that miracle happen. And we can do it. And what is the miracle? It's the miracle of love. It's a miracle of divine love. It's love. This world needs what we have. And we are the instruments of that love. And so, from this moment forth, see yourself as more than you see yourself, just in this world of worry. See yourself as an instrument of divine life. Very soon, you will realize that you are that way. There was never a separation. There was never time when you weren't. There never has been a time. There never will be a time. We are eternal. We are made of that light. We are part of that light. Just as my brother told us, never shall. There's never been a moment in time when we haven't been loved by God. And we'll realize that through these teachings, and through the support, the love that we give to one another. And this is the time when the world needs us most. So God bless you. And I wanted to just close with one reading from the autobiography of the yogi. This is at the very end of the book. This is from Master. The wisdom garnered by India, the elder brother among the nations, is a heritage of all mankind. Vedic truth, as all truth, belongs to the Lord and not to India. The great rishis, whose minds were pure receptacles to receive the divine profundities of the Vedas, were members of the human race, born on this earth rather than on some other, to serve humanity as a whole. Distinctions by race or nation are meaningless in the realm of truth, where the only qualification is spiritual fitness to receive. God is love. His plan for creation can be rooted only in love. Does not that simple thought, more than any erudite cosmological tone, offer solace to the human heart? Every saint who has penetrated to the core of reality has testified that a divine universal plan exists, and that it is beautiful and full of joy. Ye shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The men of a hard-pressed 20th century, 21st now, hear longingly that wondrous promise, yet the full truth within it is realizable by every devotee of God who strives manfully to repossess his divine heritage. The blessed role of Kriya Yoga in East and West has hardly more than just begun. May all men come to know that there exists a definite scientific technique of self-realization for the overcoming of all human misery. In sending loving vibrations to the thousands of Kriya Yogis scattered like shining jewels over the earth, I often think gratefully, Lord, Thou hast given this monk a large family.